Next, we're going to work on creating the content for the rest of our page. Let's take a look at our sketch and see what's next. So we've created our header, at least most of it, and our main content block here. So next we'll work on recreating the featured area, these 3 columns of content here, and then finally this large photos area at the bottom. So let's go back to XD and get started. The first thing I'll do is create a large rectangle going across the screen for that featured area. Give it a light gray background. Oops, that's the border. So we'll give it no border, and I'll use that light gray for the background. And now we're going to put 4 circles in the middle here to represent 4 blocks of content, and we'll give those dark gray backgrounds. And these circles really just represent photos that would appear inside of these circles in the actual website. So I'm going to copy these circles and go ahead and make 4 of them. And I can use some of these align features over here at the top of XD to align our circles. Try to distribute them a little bit more cleanly here. Okay, so now I want to go ahead and add a little header to this block that just says featured. So I'll go ahead and type that. I'll make it say featured. Right, I want to make the Kearney 0 there, and I'll make this a lot bigger so it looks like a header. Oh, maybe a little smaller, 30. Okay, so now I want to put this over top, just sort of represent it, sort of falling over top of that block of content there. Okay, now finally we want to put a little bit of text underneath our circles. And we can just grab this text up here, which is really pretty much exactly what we're looking for, right? And you'll notice that when we copy it down, it puts it behind this gray rectangle, but that's fine. We can just go up to Object and then Arrange and Bring to Front, and that'll bring whatever we have selected right to the front. I want to make that just a little bit smaller there. Actually, no, I'm going to keep it where it was. Okay, now I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so it fits all the content. We can actually group this stuff together by going to Object, Group, and then when we select it, it'll just be one solid group, and that'll make it a little bit easier to work with as we try to copy and paste it here across these blocks of content. We can see things aren't adding up perfectly here, so we might just move this over, just give everything a little bit more room, which is probably going to look a little bit better anyway. Okay. Right, we're getting really close here. And we'll just worry about this last guy. And I'm just using the arrow key on my keyboard to nudge items over after I've selected them. Okay, there we go. We're getting pretty close. There we go. Okay, so we could probably play with this spacing a little bit here. Okay, we're looking pretty good. All right, so next, let's work on creating those 3 columns of content that we saw in our sketch, right? We've got 3 columns with 3 stories each, and 2 lines at the top that say title, and then at the bottom links that say see all. So that should be pretty easy to recreate. So go ahead and make, actually maybe we'll start with one of these items up here, which is pretty close to what we're looking for. And so I'll drag that down. And we'll make 3 of those. And that's probably pretty close to what we're looking for here. All right, Now let's go ahead and create those lines that we had in between the columns. We just make a nice long line here, and I'll go ahead and copy that over into my next gutter. All right, and now I can really just start, and actually we can select all those items and start grouping them. It's just Control G is the shortcut to group items. And now we could select all three of those items and we could copy them down. And we've really very quickly sort of created those three columns of content. All right, so you remember there were a couple more things involved here. We had two lines going across the top. And those lines actually intersected rather with these lines. We'll move those up. This one needs to be a little higher there. There we go. Looks like these lines don't quite come down to the bottom of the contents. We can pretty easily fix that, and we'll actually give it a little bit more room because we're going to add some stuff there at the bottom. Okay, now let's work on adding these titles up here so we can make a quick rectangle and just make everything about it white, give it a white fill and no border, and then we can type our title on top of it and it'll just be a nice little effect. Make that a little smaller here, maybe 24. Okay, and then we've created a nice little title for these columns. We can just go ahead and select that, group it, and go ahead and start copying that over to our other columns. Very nice. All right, let's go ahead and recreate the other item that was part of these columns where it says see all at the bottom. Okay, and that's just some little links there. So what we'll do is we'll make two lines. Let's copy that one down. And in the middle there, we'll just type see all. Right. That just represents a link that people would click to get to a section to see more stories of this type, right? We can group that, move it up a little bit, sort of center that with the rest of the content, and then start copying and pasting that into our other columns as well. There we go. Doesn't seem quite straight. Okay. Oh, I see. It's this one is a little off. Okay. All right, great. So we created those two items fairly quickly. And now we just have one more content item we want to try to get in here. And it was this big block at the bottom. It's just a big photo item with a little bit of text underneath it. So let's go ahead and recreate that. So first thing we'll do is draw a big thick line across most of our canvas. And we'll make that black. And we'll go ahead and give it a size of 3. You can see is going to make it a little bit thicker. Now we'll use that same trick that we did a moment ago for the header, where we put an all white box with no border there to sort of break up that line. We will type in the title here, say photos. We can make that probably a little bit bigger. I'll go ahead and put it at 30 pixels. Okay, great. All right, now we want to draw one big photo item to go in this content block. And we'll go ahead and give that a dark gray background color. Beautiful. Okay, and now we just need a little bit of type to go underneath, and I think we can probably borrow the type that we need from our lead item up here. I'm just going to copy that and come down to the bottom and I'll paste it. And I'm actually going to make this just a little bit bigger so it fills up this space a little bit more. I'm just using some dummy type to get across my design ideas. Give everything here a little bit more space. All right, we're looking really nice here. Okay, so as you can see, we really quickly just copied and pasted, for the most part, content from their top blocks and other parts of the page to recreate the rest of the content for our page. Now if we zoom out, we can see we've really got a nice handle on creating our wireframe for the Vanity Fair website.